Working for Ansel Adams was one of the greatest experiences of my life. The opportunity to work for someone who truly was and still is your hero, this was unforgettable. I think I expected to find someone that would approach photography with great serious intent, and I've never met anyone that worked harder at photography than Ansel. But he also loved to laugh. He had a wonderful sense of humor and a contagious laughter that would set everyone else in the room laughing along with him. I think Ansel's sense of humor was important because of the intensity with which he lived life and pursued photography. As I look back upon those experiences that we shared together in the late 70s and early 80s, I think that laughter, that love of telling a joke, of getting a response, of infecting everyone else in the room with the humor, was a release for Ansel from the intensity of the rest of his life. The experience with Ansel was unbelievable. Shortly after I went to work there, Ansel did the official portrait of President Carter and Vice President Mondale, and I had the opportunity to assist him with that. And there were those kind of special moments. And every Thursday evening was a different kind of special moment, but it was an important part of the job. I put out the trash from the darkroom. And that allowed Ansel to do things only he could do. And that was, I thought, one of the real joys of working with Ansel, was to be a partner with him, to do things that I could do under his direction and allow him to do the things that only he could do, including making his own prints in the darkroom. One time, assisting Ansel in the darkroom, and keep in mind, Ansel made his own prints. He was his own printer. He'd do the printing and the developing. I'd take him over in the stop bath, the fixing, and subsequent chemicals. But he loved to tell stories, and there would be this darkroom chatter back and forth between the two of us. And one day he said, "Dodging and burning are steps to take care of mistakes God made when establishing tonal relationships." And I just burst out into laughter. As soon as the white lights came on, I picked up a 3x5 card and wrote that quote down, and I think of it often. I learned a great deal in the years I worked for Ansel as his photographic assistant. I learned about the craft of photography, and that was very valuable then. It's very valuable now. It's valuable as a photographic instructor. But the most important thing I learned from Ansel was that he was still in love with the medium of photography. He was still excited when a print turned out the way he wanted it, and that passion that he continued to pursue, I think, just permeated his imagery. Ansel had a phrase that he frequently referred to himself as a cliché. The negative is the equivalent of the composer's score, and the print the performance. Ansel, as a young man, was trained as a pianist, and he was very gifted at that. He gave that up to do photography. But to watch him work in the darkroom, to watch him orchestrate a negative in pursuit of an intense performance that rekindled not only the memory of what he would have seen when he made the negative, but more importantly, as he described it, what he felt, the equivalent of what he saw and felt, and some of the extraordinary efforts he would go to in the darkroom, making it look easy, was really one of the special moments of working with Ansel side by side, watching him orchestrate these negatives into a fine performance. Ansel is very well known for the zone system. It's the technique that he and Fred Archer formulated in the late 1930s to try and apply the science of sensitometry to the photographic process in the field, to allow one to visualize the end result. As important as the negative is, and it's very important, it's just a stepping stone to the final destination, the print. The medium of photography is a medium of communication. Photography, light writing. We tell a story using light. The conventional photographic darkroom is a place of alchemy. But the idea is to create an image that can speak to the photographer first, and then the icing on the cake, perhaps, to another human being. Ansel used to say there are two people in every photograph, the photographer and the viewer. A lot of people think Ansel was obsessed with the technical aspects of the medium. He was very knowledgeable about those aspects of the medium, but to him, they were a stepping stone, they were an intermediate point to reach the print. That print was the final destination, and that's where he would invest his energy, and that's where the interpretation would come. It wasn't an attempt to reproduce what was in front of the camera. It was an attempt to reproduce the feeling that one had when they were standing behind the camera. I heard Ansel say many times that there are no rules for good photographs. There are only good photographs. I think often the most effective photographs, the ones that etch themselves into your being, are those that most successfully break whatever you think the rules are. They define a new set of rules, and I don't think words can contain an image. A photograph has a life and a power of its own.